What's up, guys? Good morning. It's your boy Mel back with another video. Today, I'm gonna be talking a little bit about the albums that kind of captivated my year, the albums that I listened to a lot, the best albums of 2020. Like, I'm about to just get into that. But I would say, because I tried to do so many videos about the recent videos that came out in the recent time. I just did the album one with the Megan Thee Stallion album, the Shawn Mendes album, and the Miley Cyrus album. So the three albums that came out in the last like 1.5 months, almost 2 months, that were the biggest, and those were the ones I was listening to a lot because I did do the Queen Naija and the Miss Ariana Grande's album. I did the reviews for those, so because those are the five biggest albums that came out within the last 2 months, I can say. I know Playboy Cardi dropped one recently, and he's in the media with Iggy, but I leave that to you know, to the bloggers who do that, because I do that, but I do that on Station Head chat. I don't really do that on here. But yes, let's really get into it. Let me, yeah, so like I was saying, so 3435 video came out by Miss Ariana Grande. Love that song, love the video, I love the creativity about it. I loved the video for Billie Eilish. I love how it was like a chill video. She was in the mall, stealing other people's food, but it was cute. It was very chill. I want to see what she takes this next album. Lil Nas X too is a holiday. I like how he had the holiday theme. He released it within the holiday season. It's cute, but I feel like I don't know. I like it, but I feel like it sounds a little bit like a panini. I just want something different from Lil Nas X a little bit, just because people just say, "Oh, it's a steam sound." But I like the song though. Personally, for me, it's not a problem. I feel like he is winning, and I feel like after the holidays theme season is over, after the holiday season theme is over, with because right now the holiday songs are taking over the charts. But I feel like once that's over, I feel like the songs that have a chance to rise, unless a new song drop next year, it becomes big. But the songs that have a chance to really make it to the top 10 and really be a huge song, probably a huge song for the next 2 months. Holiday by Lil Nas X, Body by Megan Thee Stallion, which I love the video for that. Levitating by Dua Lipa, The Baby, that's been rising up lately too. 3435 by Miss Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande. Who else? What else I could see being in the top 10? People are saying Baby Rexa and Doja Cat's Baby I'm Jealous, but we should see about that. All right, but but I just want to give you guys a little review on that, so I can know that I am paying attention. I knew what's going on, but it's just you know copyright is making me just so weak to do videos now. Like I've been saying in my last like 2 3 videos. Um, all right, let me go to the first album though. Uh, um, the first album I want to talk about that really captivated my year this year was Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa. That was just a monumental album. Like I always loved Dua Lipa. When because the first song I heard from her was "I Got Rules, I Got 'Em." Oh no, I might be lying. The first song I heard from her was her and Sean Paul's song. Feel your eyes, they are over me. Don't be shy, take control of me. Hit the vibe, it's gonna be lit tonight. No lie. That came out like the beginning of 2017, or I think came out like late 2016. But I heard it back like in 2017, like in December. I mean 2017 in January. Um, and I absolutely loved it. Um, Future Nostalgia was an amazing album. Like she put her heart and soul into that album. Like I said, so when I first, heard those songs and I heard New Rules and I heard One Kiss Is All It Takes, and I heard Boy I Don't Give Up. My voice sounds a little bit raspy this morning, but sorry. So I heard I Don't Give Up. I heard One Kiss. I heard Electricity with Diplo and them, and I heard what's the song? No Lie. Like I just always fell in love with her sound. I like how she has that pop, EDM dance type of sound, a little bit of house. But with this album, with this Future Nostalgia album, this album was so like funk, house, and disco. So much of disco and funk with a little bit of house, and overall like a pop album. So good. Reminds me of a lot of the stuff that Earth, Wind, and Fire was putting out back in the days, or the Whispers, or Kool and the Gang, or even Michael Jackson Off the Wall. I know that's a reach, but just like that type of disco feel, like things that my grandparents would probably like was the music that she was making, but it just sounded more modern and more like like more like modern and more like up to date. But like I said, the album's called Future Nostalgia, so it's like a nostalgic time. But now, what a song in the '70s would sound like now. That's what this album gives. So Future Nostalgia was a good title for this album, to to like highlight. Excuse me, I need some water. But yeah, very great album. I love every track on this album. I don't think it was any skips. The only song I used to kind of skip a little bit sometimes was kind of Cool. I don't know. Cool had this. I don't know. I was a little bit depressed when when we first got into quarantine. So when Cool would come on, I'd be like, oh, this is a little sad. But that gave me a lot of Katy Perry vibes. I love Break My Heart. That was a great way to start the quarantine off with the album. But even before that, Don't Start Now and Physical were good songs, and Don't Start Now topped the charts. Physical did very well, did okay. Break My Heart did pretty much dope and well too as well. It did okay as well. And then Levitating is a new single now, and then she even did a club remix with Madonna and Missy Elliott and Gwen Stefani. So like she had legends hop on the club remix, and it was just such a disco feel, and it was so nostalgic but so like modern and so like updated. It was just first. It was just such a good album. Like it just brought back a good feeling. Cause in quarantine we needed this type of pop feel. Cause a lot of the pop girls went left. Ariana Grande started doing R&B. Selena Gomez dropped an album this year, but it was kind of very much like soft pop, with a little bit of like her and her feelings and her being very vulnerable on that album, which I like. But I needed like a pop record because I wanted the pop to come back because I've been reminiscing about the 2010s, like when 2010, 2011, 09, 08, 2012, when pop music was like a big thing, when you had Britney Spears had when Britney Spears had come and get me off the floor. DJ, what you waiting for? When she had I wanna go, like when Rihanna had Only Girl in the World and What's My Name and Where Have You Been and We Found Love, when the disco and EDM, not disco, when the EDM and pop and house music was alive, when Lady Gaga had Bad Romance and Born This Way and Alejandro and Edge of Glory. Like, when Pitbull had Give Me Everything, when Usher had, even when Usher went pop to like when Usher had Oh My Gosh and because baby tonight the DJ got us falling in love again. Like I miss that pop time, like that pop sensation, that pop time where pop music was the only thing that you had to go to. Even R&B and hip hop artists was doing pop. Nicki was doing I'm on the floor, floor. I love the dance. Right by my side, your love. When Nicki was in that era too. Va va boom. Cause if you want it, I'm wanting me. Va va boom, boom. Pound the alarm. Like that was like a pop time. So I just miss all of that era. Like even when Chris Brown was doing yeah, yeah, yes. Sorry, I can go on and on about, even Kelly Rowland was doing a lot of EDM stuff and pop stuff too back in 2012 and 2013. So, I missed that era. So when Dua Lipa came back, in the time of quarantine, just gave us this album that was so good. You got me in love again. The whole album, Good and Bad was my song too. Even Boys Will Be Boys was a good song for the ladies to, reminisce off of. Even the title track, Future Nostalgia, was really good as well. The whole album was just so monumental. So I must give this album props. I think it's probably my favorite album that came out this year. It was definitely a draw between this album and this other album I'm about to get into. Um, y'all know this album this year, another album this year that really captivated my year was Ungodly Hour. I hate the title of this album because y'all know I'm a church boy. I know I'm religious. Y'all know I believe in God. So I kind of hated this little title. But this was such a great album. Like, Ungodly Hour was just such a great album, a great body of work. They had great performances. And one thing about Dua Lipa, too, she had great performances, too. The AMAs, I think she was supposed to do the VMAs, but that didn't go as planned because they didn't give her enough nominations, and she really ate this year up. But she promoted herself really well, and she really kept us going through in the quarantine. But they had great performances too. That the VMAs, they did a Verizon Up concert. They performed at the People's Choice Awards. They did a Tiny Desk performance. Like they performed on the Thriller. They had a lot of great performances that came out, and that album was just so good. Like you can tell, you could tell they know who their influence is because they had excuse me, they had like you could tell that Beyonce signed them, and you could tell that Beyonce was their influence, Aaliyah was their influence, You could tell like they was influenced by a lot of like the stuff that came out in the late '90s and the early 2000s. Like this album gave me a lot of like, Aaliyah and Beyonce vibes, with a little bit of Missy Elliott influence too, in a way. It was just so good. I love how like they finally had a big break this year, because I always knew who they were too, but I never really got into their music. I felt like their music was too, like, I don't know, it was too, something about it was just, it was good music, but it wasn't getting to me personally. But when I heard like Do It and then Ungodly Hour and the catch up song with Sway Lee, I was like, oh, okay. Then I heard the whole album, Forgive Me, and every other song on there, Don't Make It Harder for Me. A lot of great tracks on that album. Busy Busy Boy, one of my favorites. I love Ungodly Hour, probably my favorite song from that album. But the album was just so good and so monumental, and was just such a great album. Like, it really was one of my favorite albums that came out this year. It was in the middle of quarantine. I was just like, yeah, this is about to be my summer album. A very great R&B album, well put together. They put their time and effort into it. I love how Chloe produced it. I love Halle vocals. I love the performances they put out this year. They had some of the best performances this year, and they really just was everybody's faves to really look at on TV this year, with these performances. And I love the fact how they used their tennis court, to promote a lot of their performances that they was doing, to promote their work. And this year they really promoted their work very hard. So shout out to Chloe and Halle. They had one of the best albums this year, and they're definitely on my list. Number three, let's go to After Hours by The Weeknd. We got to get into After Hours by The Weeknd. I need some water, guys. I might put this phone down for a second and get some water. After Hours by The Weeknd, child. Let's get into that, because he ate that album up too. And I won't lie to you, when I first heard this album, I was like, they say my favorite The Weeknd sound, because The Weeknd has some songs on there that sounded very much like, it was too like, I don't know, some songs didn't really resonate with me. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me grab some water. My voice is raspy. Sorry, guys, for that distraction, that noise, and everything. But yeah, I didn't really like this album for some reason. I don't know why. It just wasn't my favorite The Weeknd album. I used to always say Starboy was my favorite, because I love Starboy. But I think Starboy is still my favorite The Weeknd album. But Beauty Behind the Madness was a nice R&B album, and Starboy was a nice trap and an R&B album, because Starboy had a lot of hip hop elements in there too. But it was very much R&B. He had a few pop songs on there, but it was a very R&B hip hop album. And the first album was an R&B album, and then his songs before that was very R&B. I feel like this is his first like pop, synth pop type of album, and I loved it. After Hours had a lot of good songs. I loved the singles. First of all, the singles was really great. I loved, and the Grammys snubbed them this year. The Grammys, they tried it, because The Weeknd had one of the biggest year. When it came to the male artists, The Weeknd dominated. The Weeknd, the Baby, Roddy Rich, Little Baby, Drake, they took over this year. But this wasn't Drake's biggest year. But he had some hits in between. Typical Drake. But yeah. Whew. So I love the After Hours music video. Like the videos that came from that era. I loved it. I loved I loved the whole album. It was just so good, so synth pop, a little bit of disco, a little bit of funk, a little bit of R&B, even with some hip hop beats too. It was a mixture of a lot of different things, but it was overall a pop album, and that's why I got so mad when the Grammy snubbed him for album of the year, or for even record of the year, or for even best pop album or best R&B album or something, because he really put his time and effort into this album. So it really kind of pissed me off. But I love this album. Like I said, it was very diverse and unique and versatile. And he really ate this up. And I love all the songs on here. I love hold on, I gotta go and feed the tracks, because I'll be forgetting the songs names. Yeah, but I love this album though. I hope it's not a video. Cause oops. Um oops. Okay, it's not a video. Um Yeah, so and I love this theme he had for himself. I love how he had like this bloody phase, like beat up type of phase he was promoting with this era. I thought that was really interesting that he was doing that, because I remember every time I would watch award shows, my family would always ask me like, why every time you watch award shows and The Weeknd's performing, he always has this theme on his face. I was just like, who beat him up? I was like, I don't know. I guess this is just his theme. Too Late was a cute song. Alone Again, and Too Late was two cute songs, but I couldn't really get into it like that. Hardest to Love, I love that song. I love Scared to Live was my jam. Love Scared to Live. Snow Child was okay. Escape from LA was okay. Heartless was a great song. I love the video. Fate was cute. Blinding Lights was the biggest record of the year by far. In Your Eyes was a great song. I love the remix with Doja Cat. Save Your Tears, love that song. Repeat After Me was okay. After Hours was a great song. And Until I Bleed Out. But what's that one song I love from him? Save Your Tears. Oh, that's my favorite song. I think Save Your Tears, Heartless, Blinding Lights, Scared to Live Again. Those are my favorites on this album. I love those songs. And The Weeknd really had a great album. I feel like he really put his heart and soul into this album. He tried to make an album that would really, put him on a pedestal where it could be like, I feel like he can be mentioned with like the Bruno Mars and the Ushers and the Chris Brown now, because he put out some good albums. He got a couple of albums and they're all good. He has a lot of hits under his belt, and I feel like this album really captivated him to new heights. It's kind of like a Ariana Grande "Thank You Next" type of captivation, or like different. You know how like certain albums captivate our artists and make them, go to higher heights. So, shout out to The Weeknd for this album, because he put his time and effort into this album, and I love. And his performances was great too. The one at the VMAs was really great. The one at the AMAs was great. And he promoted himself a lot well this year. And I like how he hopped on other songs. So he had a great year as well. I love this album. What is the next album I want to talk about? Let's do Jhené Aiko Chilombo. Jhené Aiko Chilombo. Chilombo. Such a great, 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 great album. Love the songs on this album. I love how like she really brought back the R&B feel. Like Summer Walker did that for me in 2019, but Jhené Aiko really brought that back for me, in 2020. Like, she got me my feelings a little bit, but you could tell she's in love. It was a great body of work. I like how she used her last name, to title this. I just love the cover art for this album. It was such a beautiful album. She had Nas, Big Sean, of course. She had Nas, Ty Dolla $ign. Who else she had on this album? Miguel. A lot of great people was on this album. Chris Brown and Snoop Dogg was on the deluxe version. She even had Sister Miller J on the song On the Way on the album. I love Ferry on the Way. That's my song. That was my favorite song. And BS and Speak Your Mind. What's the other song she had? 10,000 Hours. Happiness Over Everything. One Way Street. This whole Lightning and Thunder. Like, this whole album was just so good. Like, I remember like just back in March and April, just always listen to this album. I just love, what's that song? If I could fly, I would probably never come down. With all of the boom, confusion on the ground. I wish I could. Oh, that song was just so good. I'm trying to smoke. I'm not even a smoker, but I understand, like, like she was trying to say, like, yo, like, sometimes I wish I was high, because when you think about what goes on in the world, you get a little disturbed and be like, you know what? If I was high, I wouldn't have to deal with a lot of the BS that goes on, down in the world. So she was just very, like saying that I'm trying to smoke, because, when you smoke, you get high. But it's like also you're also high up in the sky too. And then you don't have to worry about what's going on within the earth, within your surroundings and your circle. You could just, fly away from it. So it's a great song. I thought it was interesting. A lot of people was like, you don't even smoke. You don't really believe in all that stuff. So why you like that? So I'm like, because it makes sense. It's true. And it was a very beautiful album, and she really put her heart and soul into this album too. And like I'm out here talking, I'm out here like really like pushing albums in this list of people I know really like that really put their heart and soul into these albums and really made people really fall in love with what they were trying to do. So shout out to Jhené Aiko. She didn't really do a lot of performances, but she had some good songs. I like the fact she did a song with her. Back up on my That's the first song I think we heard from the album. It was that song or Fairy on the Way. No, I think it was Fairy on the Way was the first song we heard. No, it was go figure. Trigger. We heard Trigger, and we heard None of Your Concern with Big Sean. So yeah, okay. So yeah, Chilombo, beautiful album. Chilombo, beautiful album. Jhené Aiko, and it actually is nominated for the Grammy for Best Album. So we'll see if she wins. I hope she or Dua Lipa wins that Grammy. I don't want to see Taylor Swift take that, because Folklore was a great album. I guess it was great for Taylor Swift fans, and it was something different that she did, and it took her career to a different place, because it's not something that she normally do. She's trying different things. She's trying to be versatile and different, which I enjoy, but I didn't really like the album. For me, it wasn't my album, but I know it was out there for somebody else. So I'm not, shout out to her though, but I don't think she should win that. I think it should go between Dua Lipa or Janae Aiko. If Janae Aiko win, I'm gonna be very surprised. I'm gonna be like, oh, a R&B girl won. Wow, like it ain't no Beyonce, ain't no Beyonce haven't won one album of the year before. So if Janae Aiko win for R&B, that would be iconic. That would be, and people, I feel like her career would just go even more higher. And I feel like that album would just get more attention. But it did. I mean, it did pretty well this year. Not, they ain't do no feature nostalgia or no good news or no after hours, but it did something. So shout out to her. But I'm rooting for her at the Grammys in the R&B fields and stuff like that too, because they snub Brandy. But this ain't the Grammy show. This is the best album. So let's get into the list more. I did 4 already. All right. Let me get into the next album. All right, since we're in the R&B field, let's get into It Was Good Until It Wasn't by Kehlani. A very great album as well. A very great album. It Was Good Until It Wasn't. A very, very, very great album. A lot of people slept on. I feel like when Kehlani first came out, like back in 2015, 2016, people was really like big on her. Like when she had "Are You Down to Be a Distraction, Baby?" Or she had I go crazy. Like people was really crazy about her. But then now it's just like people don't really got time for her no more. Like when she had like Go Crazy, the Distraction, I Need a Gangster to love me better. Like people were really into her. Even when she even had the song before that, one with Chance the Rapper, it's the way you walk, the way you talk, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. Like people were really into her, but now it's just like people don't really care no more about her like that. I'm just like, yo, she had a whole album out this year. Only like her core fans really promote. Even the R&B radio wasn't really playing her like that. Like I heard Janae sometimes. I heard BS and Ferry on the Way on the radio. I heard Chloe and Halle get play on the radio. I heard Summer Walker get play on the radio for her stuff too. That came out last year, but I just see that they don't really play Kehlani like that no more. I don't know what happened with Kehlani, but Kehlani ain't getting the R&B play like that. Like even the song with Tory Lanez, "Can I?" That only got a little controversy because um after Tory Lanez took Kehlani off, after Kehlani took Tory Lanez off the track, that brought in a little buzz. But yeah, so that kind of had that song have a little buzz. But other than that, I think the album really didn't do what it was supposed to do. So I'm a little bit, surprised. But it was. Oh, why am I showing The Weeknd? But it was a pretty dope album for the most part. Loved Toxic, loved Change Your Life with Janae Aiko, loved even the Can I song with Tory Lanez, Can't Blame Me with Lucky Day. Hate the Club was my song with Masego. Masego's another R&B artist that people sleep on too, but he will get somewhere one day. And the whole album, Water was okay. I wasn't really a big fan of Water. I loved Everybody's Business. Loved and I feel like she was the first person to start the quarantine style type of video, and people would sleep on that too. But hey, I digress. Bad News, Serial Lover, the great album. I think Kehlani did a great job with the album. So, shout out to Kehlani for that. And I think it was really well produced as well as it was well produced. Sorry, because I'm a little distracted. So I'm a little bit over here like confused on what I'm doing. So I have 5, right? I have Chloe and Halle. I have After Hours. I have Dua Lipa. I have Janae Aiko, and I have Kehlani. So I will have a part 2 list for you guys because I have more that I want to name. But that's just the first 5, and I will have another 5 for you guys in the next video. So y'all stay tuned. It will come today as well. But I don't want to make this video too long-winded, so y'all stay tuned. See you later.